10864. Station's your final time cue will be with 15 seconds until airtime. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
The following is a presentation of Learfield. Welcome to Duck Insider.
Our whole athletic department, there's a level of expectations of success.
Throw, catch, touchdown, Oregon.
He can run and slam.
This is back out for a three. Left wing is good.
In the air to center, back at the wall. It's out of here.
Really excited that we get to rep our Ducks and hopefully come back to Eugene with some championships.
Indoor track and field national champion. And for the fourth time in the last 6 years, the Ducks are Pac-12 champions.
We have so many teams that are excelling right now, and it's really fun to be a part of.
Give it to me, baby. My house. I'm taking it there.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, here's Joey Mack.
Happy Monday and happy game day, everybody. Glad that we're going on the air telling you about a game day. The Ducks were not able to play men's basketball, that is, on Saturday against the Beavs, but they will play in Corvallis tonight. A 7 o'clock tip-off. I will be on the air with a 6:30 pregame show from Corvallis. Ducks are looking to continue their momentum. I think that they gained in the second half against Utah before having to go on that COVID protocol pause. I did talk with Coach Altman this morning for the Toyota Coaches Corner that you'll hear as part of that 6:30 pregame show, and he said that he anticipates the Ducks are going to be full strength. Good news, they didn't have anybody that was particularly symptomatic, which is great to hear. That's what you love to see. So the Ducks are able to play tonight against a Oregon State team that, frankly, has gotten a lot better. But here's the thing. I don't know exactly who's going to play for the Beavs. Haven't gotten the chance to find all that out yet. So we'll find out when the ball is tipped off tonight at 7 o'clock from Gill Coliseum. Televised on Pac-12 Network and, of course, the broadcast right here on the Oregon Sports Network with that 6:30 pregame show. What's on everybody's mind today? Because, I don't know, is there a football game tonight? Maybe. I'll be paying attention to it. Don't worry. It was funny. I was talking with Guy Haberman and Roxy Bernstein from the Pac-12. I was on Pac-12 radio this morning, and they said, "So what's your plan for that?" I said, "Well, I'll keep track of both. I'll keep track of what's going on in the football game while also calling the basketball game. That's the plan anyway." But there is the updated schedule for you on the men's side. Of course, the national championship game tonight. Best of luck to Dan Lanning, the Oregon football head coach. Last game as the Georgia defensive coordinator, and here's hoping he brings home that championship, and then that momentum just carries right into his time as the Oregon head coach. And speaking of football for the Ducks, Tosh Lupoi, Oregon football head coach Dan Lanning, finalized his full-time on-field coaching staff for the 22 season, announcing Tosh Lupoi as the Ducks' new defensive coordinator and linebackers coach. More on him coming up in just a second. We do have another scheduling update for you, and we will hear from Oregon Lacrosse head coach Chelsea Hoffmann. She's going to join us on the show today as her team begins practice, and they're about a month out from the start of their season. But women's basketball, the unfortunate news with the men being able to play tonight, the women will not be able to play on Thursday. It's because of COVID protocol within the Arizona State women's basketball program. The two schools and the conference will work to reschedule the game, and a new date will be announced when finalized. They were originally scheduled to play, the women were, Thursday and Saturday. Normally it would be a Friday and Sunday schedule, but it's Thursday and Saturday because, a reminder, next Monday is Martin Luther King Day. We will not have a Duck Insider because the women are playing UConn. 2 o'clock tip-off, 1:30 pregame show with Terry Johns on MLK Day. It is a huge non-conference matchup. Absolutely awesome to see those non-conference matchups overlapping. That is coming up on Monday, next Monday, a week from today. So no Duck Insider that day, obviously, because we'll all be at Matthew Knight Arena enjoying the game. Terry Johns will have the call for you. But that's why the schedule was moved up by a day, basically, for Oregon women's basketball. So the Ducks are still set to host Arizona on Saturday, January 15th at 2:30 p.m. before taking on Connecticut at Matthew Knight Arena on Monday at 2 p.m. Terry Johns, of course, will have the broadcast there for you. So your update, men's basketball tonight, 7 o'clock, 6:30 pregame on Pac-12 Network. I'll have the call with that 6:30 pregame. Women's basketball not going to play on Thursday, still scheduled to play on Saturday against Arizona. The Oregon men's team will also be on the road in Los Angeles. That means that Terry Johns will be sitting in this chair with you all on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, as I'll be on the road with Oregon men's basketball against a pair of top 10 teams in USC and UCLA. But got to take care of business tonight against the Bees. All right, let's get to know Tosh Lupoi a little bit. So the coaching staff is officially finalized with the defensive coordinator and linebackers coach, Tosh Lupoi. Dan Lanning said, quote, "I am incredibly excited to have Tosh Lupoi joining us here at Oregon. We want to play championship-level defense on a consistent basis, and Coach Lupoi is one of the very best defensive minds in the country. Looking forward to seeing him work with student-athletes again after spending the last few seasons in the NFL, experience that will be very valuable for our program." He continued to say, "I had the opportunity to work firsthand with Coach Lupoi at Alabama, where his tireless work ethic and coaching acumen set him apart as one of the game's elite coaches while coordinating one of the top defenses in the nation. His history and familiarity with the West Coast and the Pac-12 also makes him a great fit in Eugene. This is a very exciting hire for the Ducks. I am thrilled to welcome Tosh and his wife Jordan, as well as their son and daughter, to the Oregon family." That's Dan Lanning on Tosh Lupoi. Lupoi spent the 2021 season as the defensive line coach for the Jacksonville Jaguars, his third year in the NFL, after serving the same role with the Atlanta Falcons in 2020 and Cleveland Browns in 2019. Went to the NFL after 5 seasons at Alabama, where he worked his way up to defensive coordinator in 2018. Lupoi began his coaching career in the Pac-12, though. He coached the defensive line for both Cal from 08 to 11 and Washington from 12 to 13. And that was really probably the best defensive lines I think that Cal and Washington have seen in a while. And Tosh Lupoi, a big reason why. Lupoi said, quote, "I want to thank Coach Lanning for the opportunity to come to the University of Oregon and join the terrific staff he has put together. I'm really excited to return to college football at one of the premier spots in the nation, where we will work tirelessly to provide the best experience for our student athletes. We will do everything we can to help them reach their full potential as both football players and quality young men. Coach Lanning is building something special in Eugene, and I cannot wait to be a part of it. Go Ducks." Tosh Lupoi, defensive coordinator and linebackers coach for the Ducks. Coached some of the game's top defensive linemen, Myles Garrett with the Browns, for example. And as the Falcons' defensive line coach and run game coordinator, helped the Falcons allow the 6th fewest rushing yards in the league. Lupoi played a major role in the development of Josh Allen as well in 2021 with the Jaguars. And prior to going to the NFL, he helped Alabama make 5 consecutive college football playoff appearances. Not too bad, including 4 trips to the title game and a pair of national championships. Crimson Tide won the title in 2015 with Lupoi coaching outside linebackers, and again in 2017 with Lupoi in his second year as co-defensive coordinator. The numbers are off the charts for both the Georgia defense under Dan Lanning in the last few years and the Alabama defense under Tosh Lupoi. You think maybe this is a great combination of talent on the defensive side for the Ducks as the head coach and the defensive coordinator? I would absolutely say so. Lupoi, a California native, he played at De La Salle High School. And those of you who follow high school football and recruiting, that name's going to jump off the list for you. Pretty exciting. Tosh Lupoi, pretty darn cool. And speaking of the NFL, how about Justin Herbert on Sunday Night Football last night? Just outstanding. What a drive to force overtime. I'm just going to pretend that in overtime the two teams just kneeled it out. Why not? The wildest end of an NFL season I've ever seen, and we got to see Justin Herbert right in the middle of it. They converted 6 fourth downs in the game. First time in 30 years, Al Michaels said on the broadcast that a team had converted 6 fourth downs. Pretty nuts. What a game, though. Got to watch a Pro Duck in a special, historic NFL game. It was awesome to follow along with all the different scenarios yesterday. The kick that went through, though, damn. Just, yeah, I mean, if you would have knelt it out, then both teams would have gone to the playoffs in one of the craziest finishes to the NFL season ever. It was really odd, to be honest with you. But, boy, Justin Herbert, I know that we're, coming from Oregon, right? Like, we knew that he was going to be successful. I think we saw so many games where Justin Herbert was just awesome to watch. But I'm kind of curious, everybody. I mean, those of you tuning in live today in the 1 o'clock hour in the comment section, I think he's poised to win an NFL MVP award. I mean, he sure looks the part early on, doesn't he? Goes for over 5,000 yards in his first season. He's breaking records left and right, or second season, I should say. I mean, I don't know, guys. I think there's good chance, and I'm not trying to sit here and say this just because I'm biased, right? But I really think that he has a great chance to win an MVP award, which is cool, obviously. Pretty special for Justin Herbert. Meanwhile, ahead of men's basketball tonight, and we'll preview that one coming up a little bit later on, we also saw Oregon women's basketball get a nice win on Sunday. Now, Friday against Stanford, I think they took a step in the right direction. No Sedona Prince, though, but did have those injured three come back for the Ducks. So we're going to talk about that matchup with Stanford and the win over Cal, as the Ducks, even without Sedona Prince, they won big against the Cal Golden Bears, who I think is a much improved team this year. An 88-53 final. Ducks shot 46%. They played better defense. I think Coach Graves was pretty happy with the performance. We're going to hear from him coming up as we talk a little hoops next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear winter, you can't stop a new 2022 Toyota. No matter the weather, the Camry all-wheel drive comes out to play. Snowy hills don't stand a chance against the RAV4, and everyone's comfy in the Highlander. See you in the snow. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a Country Financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
Dear winter, you can't stop a new 2022 Toyota. No matter the weather, the Camry all-wheel drive comes out to play. Snowy hills don't stand a chance against the RAV4, and everyone's comfy in the Highlander. See you in the snow. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
Steven.
Who said that?
Me, down here.
Ugh, what are you, a yellow booger?
I'm a banana slug, Steven.
What are you doing in my room?
I'm your sense of adventure. It's been a long time since we've had an adventure in the forest.
Mom took me to the forest last year.
I'm a slug, Steven. It took me a long time to get here.
You're right. I should get out.
Yeah, the forest is not that far away.
Hey, Mom!
Come to the forest where the more adventurous you lives. Check out discovertheforest.org for cool places nearby. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
America, your children have an amazing superpower. That's right. They can help save lives by simply washing their hands. Just 20 seconds of thorough hand washing after they've coughed or sneezed or been outside can help fight against the dastardly spread of germs. Armed with only soap and water and hands, your superhero can protect you, your family, and everyone out there in America land. Amazing! Find out more at coronavirus.gov. A message from the CDC and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union inside the Country Financial Studio. Oregon men's basketball tonight, 7 o'clock. The game that was supposed to be played on Saturday, going to be played tonight as the Ducks are out of COVID protocol and getting ready for the rivalry matchup with the Beavers. 6:30 pregame, 7 o'clock tip right here on the Oregon Sports Network, televised on Pac-12 Network. Women's basketball over the weekend, I thought a good trip. I mean, Stanford's the number 2 team in the country, and the Ducks did not have Sedona Prince, but they saw India Rogers, Niara Sabally, and Tina Paopao, I think, return to form for the most part. As the Ducks all Pac-12 trio of the three I just mentioned were in the starting lineup together for the first time this year and combined to score 55 points against Stanford. Now, they lost that game, but Sunday against Cal, that 88-53 winner, I thought the team really clicked. You could see how good this team could be offensively. Sydney Parrish with the most threes made without a miss since 2008. And Sydney Parrish was really, really good in this game. We're going to hear from her coming up. Scored 21 points. And Tina Paopao also scored 21 points. And it felt like Sydney Parrish stole the show. And then Tina Paopao, it's like, wow, 21 points. Not bad. Ball movement was pretty good. Defense was solid. Niara Sabally had 9 rebounds to go with 11 points and 5 assists. No Sedona Prince, but building in the right direction. I think Kelly Graves was pretty darn happy when he met with us postgame.
Well, very pleased. I was really proud of our effort. Sometimes it's difficult to come off a loss and then try to regroup 2 days later and play against a very good team, 9-3 coming in. It's one of the better Cal teams that they've had since I've been in the league. And I just thought we got a great start, played well at both ends of the floor, shot it really well. And it just kind of snowballed from there. Everybody contributed, which was great. A lot of different players had good games. So it was really, it was just a great team victory. And we needed it. We wanted a little bit of momentum going into what could be a very difficult week with 3 games in 5 days, 2 of which are against teams that made the Final Four last year. So, yeah, it was, I think, really necessary that we played well and get the win today.
How was it that you guys were able to achieve that much better ball movement just 2 days later, Kelly? And how in particular that it was not just the guards, but that Niara had 5 assists and 4 of them kickouts on threes?
Yeah, I think, James, that was the biggest difference between the 2 games. We focused on it yesterday in practice. We obviously watched film, and that was our emphasis tonight. Just move the basketball, be playmakers for others. You know, Niara the other night would get it inside, and she had sometimes 3 players on her. You know, we need to use that to our advantage. She needs to kick that out. And you mentioned that she had her 5 assists. I thought she did a great job there. Yeah, just which, you know, I'm really proud of the team for that. Something we focused on, and then they went out and executed it. So good on them.
Coach, well, I'm sure we'll talk a lot about the offense, but to hold them to 15 made field goals in a game, I know they hit a lot at the free throw line, but that's pretty impressive. And I just thought the way you guys attacked them on the perimeter too and forced a lot of turnovers, just the defensive effort.
You know, it's funny, Eric, I think we're at our best when we scramble and try to make plays. I think when we're soft defensively, I think we're just not as good all the way around. I think it energizes us. We got more in transition tonight, and sometimes maybe not, you know, a layup or something like that, but a quick pass to an open 3-point shooter, and that came from our defense. Yeah, the one area, you know, you mentioned, if there was one weakness tonight, we just fouled too much and kind of silly fouls. Now, the game was being called tighter than normal, but you have to adjust to it. Every game's a little bit different. But by and large, yes, I thought we had a really good defensive effort. And I didn't realize, I haven't really perused the stats. I haven't looked at them that closely. I didn't realize it was only 15 field goals. I knew it wasn't many.
Yeah, Coach, this was a pretty impressive win, like a statement win this season. And I was just curious, you know, what was the vibe like in the locker room after? Were the girls confident about the season going forward?
Well, I don't know if they're confident about the season going forward. We celebrated this win. That's all we want to do. I mean, we'll worry about Thursday's game tomorrow. But yeah, I think they were pretty excited. I think we just needed a good win like that, you know, and I think tonight we showed flashes of what it can look like when we're playing good basketball. We have a lot of different weapons, and I was particularly impressed with Tahina tonight in terms of she was looking to score, not just for herself, but to set other people up. I thought she was a lot more unselfish tonight, and you know, it paid off. And Sydney had a hell of a game. I mean, my goodness, when she can, you know, spread the court like that and shoot like that, we become a different team.
I realized this 5 was really out of necessity, Kelly, and you didn't have the option because Sedona wasn't there. But you've always had kind of various ways to play in terms of lineups. So I'm not trying to pigeonhole you here, but this is stylistically closer to what you were playing a couple of seasons ago. And at the same time, you want to be able to play Niara and Sedona together against the bigger teams, the more physical grinding teams like a Stanford, hopefully again. Do you think you found something here that bears some merit in terms of, you know, taking the 4 guards and then rotating either Sedona or Niara in order to take some minutes off of them in some moments too?
Yeah, no doubt. That's a great point. And I know we've talked about being able to play different ways and compete different ways. That the small ball lineup really worked well, you know, this week. And you're right. There were a lot of similarities, you know, side ball screen kind of action, let Tahina, India make plays, get in the lane, Maddie, and kick out. That's kind of the way we did it for a few years. You know, Sedona's not going anywhere, though. I think, you know, she's certainly going to have a place. I don't know what we'll do. We'll see. I think maybe sometimes we can match up to our opponents. That great team that we had the year before the pandemic got to that Final Four. We were beaten by a team that went with the high-low and power basketball. So there's a place for that too. I'd like to think that we can play both ways, but gives us something else to think about and look at.
Just going to ask you a kind of a follow-up on Tahina. You talked about the difference in, I guess, results for her from Friday to today. 4 for 18 a couple of days ago, 8 for 13 today. Was it better shot selection? Was it just making the shots? I mean, do you think she was taking better shots today? Was it different from Friday, or just different result because maybe she was in more of a rhythm and got comfortable?
You watched the game, right? It was more in the flow. We got the ball to the second and the third side of the floor more tonight. And, she's such a competitor. She wants to come back, and I thought she forced it a little bit the other night. Tonight, she just let it come to her. I'm really happy for her. She needed that. It's been a long time, and she really needed a game like that.
Sedona had posted a little bit behind the scenes, illuminating what the Friday was for her. And I realized I could ask you this probably more in a couple of days, but given the moment of it, I realized she was the one traveling back and whatnot. But amidst everything, that's got to be a bit of a not just bizarre but unnerving experience. The whole traveling back alone on a medevac plane and all of this, and not doing it. Not that there was ever a good time to do it, but it's after people are vaccinated and everything else. What goes into it on the back end for you, for whoever's meeting her, to get her back to an apartment and whatnot, and how you try and keep in touch with a player when by default she must be isolated throughout this whole process?
Yeah, it's difficult. I'm glad though, James, they've switched it to the 5 days. I mean, we're following the CDC guidelines. It was a lot worse when it was 10 days or even 14 days. Remember that? A short year ago. So, she's already served a couple of days of her sentence. And we'll be there for her. I mean, we've talked each day, and she's going to let us know how she's doing through that social media. We'll know exactly what's going on. Now she's got a lot more time for some content. I don't know if I particularly want to know what the content is, but she'll be back in a couple of days. She'll be able to practice with us a little bit, I think, before we play. I'm not exactly sure how far they go back on that timeline, but that's difficult. It's especially for someone as social as she is, to have to be in there by herself. The good thing is she does not have a roommate on the team. So she has her own place, and, so I don't think they moved her into special housing. Do you know that? I don't know that.
Coach, when you see Sydney knock down some of those threes early on, and she's shown that she can be a very streaky shooter and, a hot shooter in spurts, do you tend to set up plays and go to her so that she can keep shooting in that zone?
Yeah, we ran a couple of specials to give her looks early on after she was rolling, but most of it was just done organically, to be honest with you. They went to that zone a few times, you guys, and it was like shooting fish in a barrel. I mean, it was it was pick a shot, and so a lot of it was just done organically. And we have a smart team. Tonight reminded me a little bit of that. The team in the past. Remember when you used to have different players would score 30 on any given night, and our players were smart enough and unselfish enough to keep feeding them, and that's what they did tonight. So looks like we're maturing a little bit this weekend. Overall, obviously you don't want to go 1-1. You always want to go on a road trip and go 2-0. But relatively speaking, you guys, I feel real good about this road trip. I think we made advances. We got better, and hopefully now we'll be better on Thursday.
And again, it won't be Thursday, as that was Coach Graves talking after the game, but happy with the results from the weekend. Even though you go 1-1, big win against Cal. Won't be Thursday. COVID protocol within the Arizona State program has postponed that game, but the Ducks are still scheduled to play Arizona on Saturday. That's coming up this week. Going to hear from Sydney Parrish after her historic performance coming up. Keep it here. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
As my family continued to grow, I realized I'd have to replace my beloved Jeep with something that has, well, more seats. I'm Jason Hines, Country Financial Rep and father of 7. Whether you're upgrading from your sporty ride with no room for a car seat or finally replacing your well-loved beater that still has a cassette player, you'll want the right protection for your new car. Work with a Country Financial Rep like me and get the protection you need at a price you can afford. Learn more at TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Watch out! You got me!
The galaxy is safe once again.
In the pretend universe, kids play with pretend guns. In the real world, it's up to us to make sure they don't get their hands on a real gun. If you have a gun in the house, keep it locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. Tosh Lupoi has been announced as the Oregon defensive coordinator. The full coaching staff for 2022 is now complete. Dan Lanning, of course, coaching as the defensive coordinator in the national championship tonight. Georgia taking on Alabama. We'll recap that for you tomorrow. We're also going to talk with Lisa Peterson, Deputy Athletic Director and Senior Women's Administrator, tomorrow. And we have a really, really exciting anniversary to celebrate this week, and a really cool announcement regarding women in flight. We're going to talk with Lisa a little bit about that and more to come this week. I can't say too much, but that's what's coming. Also, what's coming is men's basketball tonight. 7 o'clock, 6:30 pregame, Ducks and Beavs in Corvallis. We'll have Coach Altman on the Toyota Coaches Corner here coming up this evening. Meanwhile, Sydney Parrish, she had a historic performance. Just absolutely lights out from 3. Most threes made without a miss for the Ducks since 2008. She ended up 7 of 9 from 3. 7 of 10 from the floor. Only took one shot that wasn't a 3. 21 points for Sydney Parrish, and she talked with us post-game after a pretty great sharp-shooting effort. Here's Sydney Parrish.
Yeah, we know we needed to come out and punch first, and we did that coming into the game. And, lost against Stanford last game, so we needed first Pac-12 win, and, we got it done. We came out hard and finished strong.
Playing together, I know there's foul trouble that kind of aided to it, but it seems like you guys got a lot of just ability to play with different combinations today. The value in that and just having court time, because I know you guys have not played a lot in games, but also in practice with all the injuries and COVID stuff. It's been hard to manage that. How was today just getting acclimated with each other?
Yeah, I think it's helped that in practice we have had sometimes those injuries. We had gotten to play with some of the other girls, and it helped during this game today when we were in foul trouble. So, we were aggressive, and today was just one of those days where those fouls were called.
You're a terrific shooter. When did you know that today was going to be a career kind of performance for you? Because that's a career high in threes.
Yeah, I didn't really know if it was going to be or not. My teammates got me open, gave me great passes, and I did the easy part. They did the hard part.
Sydney, you knocked down, your first 2 threes right off the bat in that first run. What was going through your head when you kind of get into that zone where you can't really miss your 3-point shot?
It's really not any kind of mode, I'd say. I just focus on the game, see the openings, try to get in those openings and get the easiest pass for my players or my teammates to make. So I think that's really the biggest thing.
Just the comfort level now playing with these guards, because it seemed like both, you talk about open shots you've had, a lot of those were set up off of penetration and kick and whatnot. Just how much of it does that make your job easier, and just the ease your guys are now coming with playing in this group?
Oh, definitely. It makes it a lot easier. We have terrific point guards. So we're starting about 3 point guards right now. So just them creating defense to suck in makes those open shots a lot easier. I mean, they create a lot. So Tahina, Maddie, Indy, every single time they drive, everyone just sucks into them because they know how good of a player they are off the dribble.
Kind of obvious, Sid, but 4 of Niara's 5 assists today came on 3-pointers, and I think you had 2 of them. How much does her presence allow for those opportunities? It's just different. I mean, again, we saw it last year, but she wasn't there for 10 games for you guys, basically 11 games. So how much is this just stylistically opening up the floor like you guys want to play?
Yeah, it's helping a lot. I mean, we saw first in the Stanford game, I mean, they were sending 3 girls to her. In this game, kind of going into the second quarter, they started sending 2 girls to her every time she got the ball. So she's making great reads and just looking out and not forcing any shots on 2 defenders. But I mean, she's a really good player, and they need to send 2 to her if they want to try to win the game.
Sydney, this was a big statement win, and it feels like this was something that we hadn't seen before from this team. Was there a vibe in the locker room after the game that, you guys really felt confident after this win?
Yeah, definitely. I think even after our Stanford game, it just felt like we almost had everyone. Even though we are missing Sedona, it's like kind of just all forming together finally, and we're finally playing as a team and playing as a group, and it's just all coming together. So this win really just was a cherry on top with like how we've been wanting to put it all together. We've been seeing it in practice, so seeing it in a game finally is great.
Just kind of sticking on that topic, the importance of this win for you guys as a team, maybe confidence-wise, because the next week is huge for you guys. You guys have some huge opponents coming to Matthew Knight. Just the confidence that provides you, maybe momentum you have now carrying into a couple days of practice before you face Arizona State in 5.
Definitely. We were talking about before we needed this win to like just push our momentum into the next week. And I think we're going to have a great week of practice and ready for these next 3 games. They're going to be really tough, but really fun. So we're really excited for those.
Sydney Parrish, a historic performance, hitting 7 3-pointers for the Ducks, 21 points for her. If she shoots like that, Ducks are going to be really tough to beat. They scored 88 points against a pretty good Cal team. Now, they will not play Thursday against Arizona State. Announced today, COVID protocol within the ASU program. Still scheduled to play Arizona on Saturday for Oregon women's basketball. When we come back, switching gears, I'm going to talk a little bit about men's basketball, some football to come as well. But Chelsea Hoffmann, head coach Oregon Lacrosse, is going to join us as we close in on the start of a lot of spring sports seasons, including lacrosse. Great chat with Chelsea Hoffmann coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, our all-inclusive event pricing allows us to take care of all of the details while you enjoy your event. Our wedding garden, expansive grounds, ballroom, and meeting rooms can accommodate any size event and come complete with full catering and service staff. From weddings to business and social events, Shadow Hills offers the benefits of a resort atmosphere and the peace of a country setting just minutes from downtown Eugene. For more details, call us today or go to shadowhillsevents.com.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
This is Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Okay, forest animals, kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow, have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. River, how's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man.
I love it. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. Okay. Squirrel.
The forest has been preparing just for you. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Tom has been a teacher for over 40 years. One day, I think one of the students had asked the question and he didn't remember the answer. And I also noticed that he was letting his class out earlier than they were supposed to let out. I was really starting to worry.
Levi and I talked about how it would change our lives, but he was there beside me.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk.
Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Welcome back inside the Country Financial Studio. Joey Mack here with you. It's Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Chelsea Hoffmann is joining us. Lacrosse practice has begun. We're getting ready in about a month to start up the season. And it's been a while since you've been in the studio. Welcome back. Glad that you're able to be here in person. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Glad that we're back in person. Glad that we're out on the field and yeah, back to normal.
What's the excitement level like? I mean, all of your athletes are back for a new term. It's week 2 for those of you keeping track of the academic calendar at home. Just what's it been like with your team so far?
Yeah, it's been exciting. We had a really successful fall, so it's awesome to welcome everybody back and just have the excitement of, we're a month away. We're at an advantage as a quarter system that we get to start 8 hours a little bit earlier. So just to get our sticks back in our hands, to be out on the field together is really nice to just kind of ease into the first 2 weeks of school. And then this weekend we'll kick off the start of our 20 hours and really get into what preseason feels like and kind of the full load of building into all of our segments of the offense, defense, and all those pieces.
That's really interesting. You bring up like the difference for quarter schools and the way the time management works. That really is a big advantage, isn't it?
Yeah, we're always at a disadvantage in the fall. So we always come back in September, and a lot of our opponents have been in season since August. So for us, it's really great to utilize the smaller break of the winter term. So there's a little bit of, a lull, but then we kind of get into it and just kind of can break down like the nitty gritty. And I think as a young team, it really helps our athletes just start to get back into the routine of what the season's going to feel like.
Well, and the routine's a little different this year, right, than it really has been the last few years. How have you and your coaching staff and a new staff that we'll talk about, how have you dealt with that? I mean, this is a different environment that we're still in, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think we've really just tried to address it as like one day at a time and really to not take anything for granted. We're a young team. We've been really young, but we're young naturally because we haven't been able to be out on the field for opportunities of competition the last couple seasons. So we've really just looked at it as like growing every single day, getting 1% better, and really relying on, us as a team to come together to see what are the distractions, what are the challenges, like talk about it so that we can really recognize, that we are in circumstances that are unprecedented, but that when we're out on the field together, we're able to just be present and create that camaraderie.
February 12th is when it all begins. It's in Eugene at Pape Field against George Mason, your alma mater, by the way.
Yeah.
So you had to be excited to get them on the schedule, right?
Yes. No, I was really excited. I being an undergrad there, I never really got the opportunity to travel a ton. We traveled primarily like up and down the East Coast, and I'm quite friendly with the new head coach there, and she was out on the West Coast at Stanford prior. So just to be able to make that connection and, as an alumni, kind of give back and say, hey, let's give you the opportunity to come out west and see a totally different part of the world. So I'm excited to have them out here and just, kind of allow them to see our space and what, the Pac-12 has to offer.
Yeah, that's a cool deal. And you talk about the Pac-12 and the continued growth of lacrosse. I mean, just give fans kind of the update on the growth as it continues to move west, because we've seen more and more programs pop up the last few years.
Yeah, so the Pac-12, it's been an emerging conference. We've definitely continued to grow every year, and it's really an awesome opportunity for our athletes to also travel to different areas around the country. So lacrosse being that we have 6 teams in our conference right now, we play everybody twice, so we get the opportunity for the home and away, which makes the weekends really competitive when we play Friday, Sunday, and then I get to see an opponent back here in Eugene after we travel to see them. But the best part is that the West Coast is continuing to expand, and it's expanding because of our recruitment nationally. We have athletes on our team from like 16 different states.
Wow.
So, it just is continuing every year to open up the, I would say, athletic ability of athletes from all over the country that have different skill sets, whether they have soccer backgrounds, basketball backgrounds, but the sport itself is such a hybrid of different sports that it allows us to kind of get these niche areas, but then bring athletes out to different parts of the country.
I'm almost curious as you go about recruiting. I mean, I feel like every coach has similar strategies, but everyone's a little bit different. Where do you start with recruiting? Like, what's the beginning of finding the right athlete to come play for you?
Yeah, I think it's about just the interactions. So our staff will be out pretty much throughout the summer and the fall working camps and clinics, being able to interact with our student athletes and just see, are they coachable? Are they easy to get along? Do they respond well to our coaching? What's their energy like? What's their leadership like? Are they good teammates? So there's always the athletic ability of, kind of evaluating them as an athlete, but then, to the next level of they're going to come here and work with us for 4 years. So we want to make sure they're a right fit culturally, they're a right fit to kind of get them in here and then mold them as we do. So that's a big piece. And then nationally, a lot of pockets that we go to bring in a lot of different talent from all over the country. So we have that ability with club programs and with some of these big spotlight areas that we get to kind of see more athletes all in one go.
How is recruiting different now than it was 2.5 years ago?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, I could say 3 years ago, we were recruiting like 8th graders. And luckily we moved forward and made a rule that we were, only going to be recruiting athletes in their basically September 1 of their junior year. So that was a great adjustment. I remember as an assistant at Stanford talking to 8th graders on the phone and not knowing what to talk to them about. Right. And now there's a lot more, I'd say growth in our conversations. We've done a lot more, before COVID home visits. Now things have changed to being a lot more virtual. Zoom opportunities, having kids see kind of the virtual landscape. But we just actually wrapped up yesterday a 7v7 clinic that we had athletes from all over the country. So really it's about getting athletes here to Eugene to be able to see what the program has to offer.
I've heard so many coaches over the years at Oregon say that it's especially true here, true at other schools, but especially true at Oregon. Like, you just got to get them on campus.
Yep.
It seems like, you're saying exactly that right here.
Yeah, exactly. It's about getting them to campus, and our sport being that it is predominantly East Coast, there's a stigma, a little bit of okay, that's kind of far. But really once they get here and they walk around and they see what the student athlete has as resources, it sells itself. So I think that's been something that's really been an advantage to us and being able to just live the life, be around our student athletes, feel the energy that this athletic department breeds towards the success of our student athletes on and off the field.
Chelsea Hoffmann joining us, Oregon lacrosse head coach. I want to stick with you on kind of that recruiting idea for a second, because we've talked before about youth lacrosse growing across the country, and particularly on the West Coast. Are you still seeing that? I mean, I know COVID interrupted everything, so I'm just kind of curious, like, do you still see the boom of youth lacrosse, and how much does that help in future recruiting, because more athletes are playing lacrosse?
Yeah, I think I think COVID definitely slowed things down a little bit, but I think now that certain areas are able to continue to have a little bit more opportunity to work with athletes, it has taken off. I would say the West Coast, specifically California, is probably the biggest state. We have a lot of youth lacrosse just taking off, and a lot more coaches that are leaving programs in the Pac-12 and getting out and now working with different areas. We have an alumni who's down in San Diego and being able to go out and work on the weekends and just, put the stick back in her hand and give back to the community. So I think that's been what's really great to see, the different pockets of youth lacrosse building. It's from the Pac-12 teams. It's from a lot of our, different even MPSF teams having alumni that are going to back and go coach the games.
Tell us about your new staff, because I got to tell you, so the lacrosse offices are just down the hallway from ours, and the amount of times in the last week that I have seen you guys in the conference room and the amount of energy that it is just exuding from you guys. Selfishly, it's been really fun for me to see. So tell us about your new staff, because obviously there's a lot of energy and excitement.
Yeah, a lot of energy, a lot of excitement. I was excited to welcome our new staff this summer. So Caitlin Prince comes to us. She was at the University of Cincinnati. She's our offensive coordinator. Great energy, a player's coach, really connects well with our athletes, and really is very fine-tuned on the details of, putting things together so it's transferable for our athletes to understand. But really just love the way way she kind of breaks things down to make sure our athletes, know that they're valued, know what their roles are, but also is really able to kind of empower them to take risks and to find their way throughout our offenses. And then Kat Renone is another spark plug. I love her on the defensive side. She was a former goalie at Penn State and is working with our defense. She was previously at LaSalle University, and she's been really working like tooth and nail to get our goalies up to par and make sure, they understand the kind of fundamentals of how we want them to play. But then also from there, I've tasked her with building, her goalie repertoire into helping our defense and kind of adding the new layers onto the defense that we're going to still have as consistent coming off of our past 2 seasons, but kind of adding new tweaks and throwing out different opportunities to kind of force offenses to have to play us. And then Nelly Schaefer is our director of ops, and she's coming to us from Green Bay, and previously was working with women's basketball at Green Bay, and now is kind of in a dual role with us in women's volleyball. So really fortunate that she had to kind of get into women's volleyball, kind of understand the layout of the Pac-12 and our travel schedule, and now she's heading back this way and kind of moving over to the Cavs to make sure women's lacrosse is ready to go. But a lot of spunk, and I would say just, a lot of good camaraderie. And I think the best thing is the new challenges that our staff is bringing to me as a head coach, but also to our team to make sure, they're not getting comfortable and pushing the next level.
Nelly, if you're tuning in, the best hotels and best takeout spots and what the head coach likes to eat after a victory, those are important, right?
Yes. Those are important.
Just a few things. Yeah,
just a few things.
The director of operations, by the way, for those of you who are always, we talk about these folks a lot, and these are truly like the head of the team behind the team.
Yeah.
I mean, I have so much respect for what all of those folks do, because logistics are hard. And there's a lot that goes into it, from managing different people, different personalities, student athletes, coaches. I mean, I'm glad that you brought her up, is what I'm getting at, because I think that's an important part that sometimes fans don't realize.
Yeah, no, they're like the unsung heroes. I mean, they keep the team fed, they keep the team clothed, they make sure, we're in the right hotels. But yeah, no, they're definitely a huge part of the operations behind just getting to and from places.
Let's talk about this roster for you. Names that fans need to know. So, for example, who's out there leading your squad right now? Who are you leaning on from a leadership perspective?
Yeah, I'm excited that we are returning some of our upperclassmen, specifically on the offensive and the defensive end. Logan Gerke is someone to look for. She's a defender, so she doesn't always get the accolades from a statistical standpoint, but is a returner for us on the defensive end, and has been a lockdown defender since her freshman year. Lily Stump returns, and she's a fifth year, which we're excited to have her back and have a little bit of experience on the offensive end, but also have, another opportunity to have her get a full year in with the program. And then some young names, Morgan McCarthy is a sophomore for us. She had a really great season last year, and got a lot of experience. She's a true midfielder. Katie Collins, who's a junior, another true midfielder. She's definitely had a really great fall, and someone I'm excited about kind of continuing to put her, I'd say put her energy, put her efforts into helping our young freshmen in our midfield kind of get up to speed. And then, I think we got a different group in the goal this year. So we've got 3 different goalkeepers. We did graduate Allie Dunbar last year. So both Cassidy Eckert and Gianna Cameron and Paige really saw a lot of time throughout the fall. So we're just excited to kind of get back into things and start to see, who is kind of locking down that spot in our defensive end, who's really able to kind of make the saves we need and help our team really get the ball kind of down the offensive side.
And you still have a month, right, of practice.
Plenty of time.
So by the time we talk again, you're going to be a little more solidified, I'd imagine.
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
Maybe. You like competition throughout the year, though, don't you?
Oh, yeah. Every week's a new competition. So, it's about kind of continuing to fine-tune our skills. But, for us, it's about kind of getting to that peak as we get closer to the Pac-12 conference play. Not so much about, right from the get-go, who's kind of cemented in their roles.
From the get-go, though, on the 12th of February, George Mason is in town, so you can head out to Pape Field for the opener, which is always fun. Conference play begins against Arizona State on March 11th, but that one's on the road. Conference opener at home for the Ducks will be against Colorado on March 18th. I got to ask you, because I'll end at this point, because I looked at the schedule and I went back a few years because I thought, God, It seems like normally for lacrosse, it's like East Coast trip here, East Coast trip here, Midwest trip here. I was looking at the schedule. It's like, man, there's a lot of matchups in Eugene this year. Selfishly, that's awesome for Duck fans. More chances to see you guys play. Was that kind of a focus? Did you want more home games?
Yeah. I typically want more home games. I'd say I normally like 50-50 on a home and away. We obviously have the opportunity that our conference, we're always going to get 5 games at home. But we traveled a lot in the fall. So we went to Notre Dame this fall and played in a big Power 5 play day. And then we also went down to Davis for a fall ball. So I think our athletes have done a lot of travel, and we kind of got them a little bit used to, what it feels like to travel, but to have home games here. I'm also excited that we're about to unveil 4 new uniforms for the season. So a little bit more of that opportunity to show, the Oregon pride here at home. So I'd love to have fans come out to Pape. It's awesome to be able to have fans in the stands. And then being an outdoor sport that, we're not as restricted, but making sure, we have a good fan base to just be around our student athletes, because they have so many stories. They're so incredible every day. It's just really fun to work with them and just, have the opportunity to compete again this season.
New uniforms, everybody.
Yeah.
That was a good tease. Well done.
Yeah.
Well done. So keep your eyes peeled for that, because it's coming before the start of the season. February 12th against George Mason. Chelsea Hoffmann, hey, thanks for taking the time. Look forward to catching up with you as the season approaches throughout the season, and best of luck at practice, huh?
Thank you. I appreciate it. One day at a time.
Yeah, well.
Chipping away.
1% better every day.
Exactly.
I like that.
Exactly.
Eventually you get to 100%, but coaches always want like 110%.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, you always have the effort. You always have the, you always have the tangibles.
Sure.
You gotta get there one day at a time.
Makes sense. Chelsea Hoffmann, Oregon Lacrosse opens the season February 12th against George Mason here at home in Eugene at Pape Field. More details, of course, GoDucks.com. Get your tickets. When we come back, basketball. Yeah, we're back in action tonight. Previewing that coming up, and a whole lot more to get to on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a Country Financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics, because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
More Duck Insider coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Okay, man, this is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're going to go out there and be an all-star caregiver. Cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You got to dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments, because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Show the world that you're tougher than tough. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
To some, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much, but that's not true. They're testing out vowels and consonants and trying different sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on meaning, especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Learn more at autismspeaks.org. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack here with you inside the Country Financial Studio. My thanks to Chelsea Hoffmann for joining us. It was great to be able to catch up with her. Part of our series of, head coaches that are going to be previewing their seasons coming up with the spring rapidly approaching. That's right. We're going to talk with, for example, Coach Lombardi, Coach Wasikowski about the Diamond Sports here coming up, because we do have a lot of spring sports on the horizon. By the way, a check-in. We've been telling you a little bit about the PK Park renovations. If you drive by Martin Luther King right now, drive down the road, drive by PK Park, you might see it look a little different. There's going to be some cool pictures coming. I don't want to give too much away, but yeah, there's going to be some cool pictures coming. And well, for now, that's all I have to say about that, because it's going to be pretty cool. Your Cafe Yum 2-minute drill, if you're just joining us. The men's game is on for tonight, originally scheduled to be played Saturday. Now that game will be played this evening. COVID protocol within the Duck program, but talking to Coach Altman for the Toyota pregame show, or Toyota pregame interview, I should say, coming up tonight that you'll hear at 6:30. I asked Coach Altman this morning about it when we were doing the interview, just, hey, where you at, and he said, well, I think it looks like everybody's going to be good to go, which is great news. That's what you like to see coming out of a COVID protocol. Now, last year, the Ducks did not perform well coming out of their pauses, so let's hope that this year things change, because the Beavers were not playing well at all in their first 10 games. They went 1-9. They've been a lot better, and a lot better is maybe an understatement in their last 3. They're scoring over 81 points per game, and they're shooting 54% from the floor in their last 3 games. They went 2-1. In their first 10 games, they scored 67 points per game, and they were shooting 43% from the floor, and they went 1-9. So you score points, you win games. Who knew? But that is just an indication of how much better they're playing. This is the most contested rivalry in college basketball. I love saying that every time these two teams meet on the hardwood. Now, what I don't love saying is that the Beavers actually have a winning record in the series. Ducks are inching closer to tying up that overall record with the Beavs. Meanwhile, Oregon men's basketball, after this game tonight at 7 o'clock, will travel to Los Angeles this upcoming week for a Thursday and Saturday meeting with 2 top 10 teams in UCLA and then USC. Oregon women's basketball, unfortunately, not going to play on Thursday against Arizona State due to COVID-19 protocol within the ASU program. So the Ducks will have to wait to play Arizona on Saturday, and that game is still on at Matthew Knight Arena ahead of the big non-conference matchup with UConn on Monday, Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Looking forward to it. A 2 o'clock tip for UConn, 2:30 tip for Arizona. Tosh Lupoi has officially been announced as the Oregon defensive coordinator, bringing a lot of experience with him. His full bio now available on GoDucks.com. And then, of course, Dan Lanning will coach in the national championship game tonight as the defensive coordinator for Georgia. And then he'll be full-time for the Ducks, getting ready for, well, the Bulldogs to open the season against the Ducks next year, which is kind of a weird deal. That's your Cafe Yum 2-minute drill. Cafe Yum restaurants throughout Oregon and Washington, serving Northwest-inspired catering and takeout. Menus at cafeyum.com. For men's basketball tonight, continuing to preview this matchup, I think that there's a couple guys to really note. One is Warith Alatishe. This year he's averaging 12 points and 6.5 rebounds per game. But something that has stuck out to me is just how good he's been against the Ducks in his career. In fact, he's averaging over 13 points and nearly 12 rebounds per game, and he has shot about 65.5% from the floor in his 3 career games against Oregon. Now, the last time the Ducks were at Gill Coliseum, they won the Pac-12 regular season championship for the 4th time in the last 6 years. Good memories. But there weren't any fans in the stands that time. This time there's going to be a lot of Beaver fans rooting against the Ducks. And I will tell you one thing that I am really excited for tonight. On my drive up to Gill Coliseum, I am going to make sure to drive by Reser Stadium and see where that old press box came tumbling down. I have some good memories in that press box. Some not so good memories too, but some good memories were in that press box, particularly one Heisman pose from Marcus Mariota. Talk to you for a 6:30 pregame tonight.
It's 4 a.m., Monday, and you're literally sucking baby snot through a tube because she's congested. Man, that's love. And if you love her that much, love her enough to make sure she's buckled in the right car seat. To make sure your child's in the right seat for their age and size, visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Show them you love them. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic